like by the third or fourth crew on CBS or Fox? And is it going to just kind of be with a whimper against the hated Jets? Because there's a lot of things at play here. If this is Belichick's last game as a New England Patriots coach, after 24 years as the coach, if they lose and Washington either wins or if the Falcons lose to the... there's a chance that the Patriots can go from the 4th overall pick to the 2nd overall pick, which is a major deal in a draft that's just loaded with quarterbacks. And a loss seems to really benefit the Patriots in a lot of ways as far as the future. Does Belichick want to, A, lose his last game? No, we know that. They've been fighting to the end of the finish. And it's against the hated Jets, who they've beaten 15 times.
I think he loves that.
I think he would love to beat the Jets. I also would love to see the fire and spirit in this team and how these guys play for him. They beat Denver. They gave the Bills a game. Are they going to beat the Jets 35-0? And is this Belichick's send-off from New England? And I don't know where he goes next. That's fine. But if this is Bill Belichick's last game as a New England Patriot, I can't recall Shula's last game. I can't recall Landry's last game. I've been working in the industry while Belichick has been the guy, and I want to see how this team fights and plays for him and kind of what those last few minutes on the sidelines will be. And if we can tell for sure that this is indeed the last dance for Bill Belichick in New England.
There was a number that was floated out midway through the season that we could see upwards of 10 head coaching changes in the NFL. And it seems dramatic at times, but we're almost halfway there with knowing who has been relieved of their duties and who is reported to. Do you put Bill Belichick at the top of the list? Do you guys think at this table that it is time for Belichick to start fresh with another team?
I think that's the way this entire season has kind of trickled to. I think not only for the team, for Kraft and ownership, but also for Bill. I think he, at this point, would like to go somewhere else. We were talking about him chasing the record of all-time wins. I don't know that that's happening anytime soon in New England. So I think it might be the best-case scenario to have a fresh start for both sides. I think to your point, even beyond, before it even gets there, as you watch that game today, as the clock hits 0, of what is like on that sideline? Are there hugs? Does it have a feeling like it is the last one? Matthew Slater is playing in this game, 16 years with the New England Patriots, so long there with Bill Belichick. This possibly could be Slater's last game as well. So it'll be very interesting to see not only how Bill handles it, but from an organizational standpoint, how this game is handled and what it's like, the emotions on the sideline. Because if it is his last game, that is just, it seems crazy to think that Bill Belichick is coached his last game in New England.
Also, if they lose, and let's say they do end up with the number 2 pick, do you want this quarterback that you draft to be coming to the league under Bill Belichick and his friends and whoever? Is that really optimal? That's the best place for him to show up and be a superstar? This coach has been around for a long time, was up there in age. Like, don't you want to put him with someone younger or more with different perspective? I don't know if that's the solution for the Patriots either. If they lose, like, do they want Belichick back? I don't know how this comes to be, but I have a feeling they're going to house the Jets. I think it means a lot to him.
I think it does, too. And I don't know what the Jets are playing.
I don't know what they got left.
And
they look broken.
If they win, suddenly the Patriots go from the 2nd, 3rd, or 4th overall pick to, like, the 7th or 8th overall pick, because all these teams, the Chargers, they have the same record as them. The Giants have the same record, and assuming those teams lose, they'll all hop them. I'll say this on the Belichick stuff, like, is there a team that we have at the ready? It's like, oh, well, they'll hire him. That's the other part of it. I think there is, and I would imagine a Washington, and I'm not firing Ron Rivera on air right now, but I think there is talk that this might be Rivera's last dance. Like, everyone's talking the Chargers. And it sounds nice from Belichick. Do the Chargers want to hire Belichick and bring in Belichick to then be the coach? Maybe. You start going through the teams. Like, if the Cowboys flame out in the playoffs, is it join with Jerry and go get those wins? I look at the NFC South. Whoever he joins in the NFC South, I don't know how those coaching things go, but Atlanta, Tampa Bay, obviously the Saints, Carolina has an opening. If you go to the NFC South with Belichick alone, you're thinking at least 7 or 8 wins next year. If the win record matters, you've got a shot. So I'd look at those NFC South teams, owners who all want to win. When you talk about Tepper and Blank and Glazer, and then, of course, Ms. Benson down in New Orleans, I don't know how those coaching jobs go, but I would look at the NFC South more than some of those shiny objects that we're talking about.
You've been around, Jason, a lot of coaches who have moved on, players, significant players. Your brother kind of being the most recent example. Like, you're playing, you know the end is near, but how close to the end do you decide, like, it is time to move on? And is Bill Belichick the kind of guy that would have made this decision emotionally already?
I don't think you would have made it emotionally already. He was very much so. The phrase he used to say to us, especially as the season's coming to an end, put everything in the drawer, leave it there, close that drawer, focus on the now and then. Yeah. When the season's over, open that drawer. And I very much believe that is him. His only focus right now is beating the New York Jets. And you said it, I think he does not like the Jets. Whenever it was New York Jet week, it was a different vibe in the building, and everybody knew that. So I think he's focused on the here and now. As a player, I think you go into games like this, Week 18, for a Matthew Slater, for so many veterans of not knowing what tomorrow brings, you embrace this moment and you let it all in. I was actually talking to Dev this week about it. Last year, his last game was in Buffalo. He had an interception, 2 pass breakups. He said, I walked off the field like, it was a pretty good game. Not a bad one to walk off on, just assuming, hey, this could be the last one.
Real quick, do you remember the last game that Brady played as a Patriot?
Yeah, against the Titans in the playoffs.
Pick 6 from your buddy Logan Ryan. Sometimes it doesn't end in magic. Sometimes it ends that way, and then you got to start anew.
Then he went and won the Super Bowl.
NFC South, Peter, very curious. All right, we're going to keep